still, even with everything you got going on for this time of year?
Yeah, I think so. It's the best time. You know, this year's been, and last year too, probably been more inconsistent going into the tournament than maybe we have in some past years. But yeah, I'm excited. I think we still got enough gas in the tank to play our best moving forward. And if we do that, then it could make for, you know, a very exciting time for us. So I'm excited about it. I think our players are as well. But the end is near, you know. So we got two, you know, basically single elimination weekends. So hopefully we'll respect that and certainly play with the urgency that everybody plays with this time of year.
You got used to looking at the bracket like it always used to look, with a certain number of teams and kind of feeling where you would slot in, and you also.
In the NCAA tournament?
No, this one, the Big 12.
Oh, yeah.
What's it like to look at it now, knowing that there's more teams and also you haven't played everybody as much and all that stuff? Is it harder to digest?
Well, it's probably different because the last 2 years we played on Wednesday. You know, we never have done that before. So at least I don't think we've ever done that before. So you know, it's a 4-game weekend if you play well, as opposed to a 3-game weekend on all the past years. So that's something that's a little different. To me, it does feel different. To me, it doesn't quite have the intimacy maybe that we felt in years past because we were more familiar with everybody. Just like we're going to play the winner of 2 teams that, you know, obviously we played UCF twice this year and Utah once, but we're going to play the winner of a game that probably doesn't carry the same interest from a fan base because the rivalries are so new as what it has maybe in years past.
What do you, last year doesn't almost count because you were so injured and it was such a different
Yeah,
tournament.
we went over there.
Yeah.
We weren't trying half speed.
Sure. So what, if anything, do you tell them about the idea of playing 4 games in 4 days? If you're lucky enough to do it.
Well, I just tell them what we'll talk about, and granted, I hadn't talked to them since the game on Saturday. So what we'll discuss is, you know, it's a chance to probably. I always say when you're the 1 seed going into the tournament, it's a chance to validate what you've accomplished over 2.5 months. This would probably be a chance to do the opposite of what we did over the first 2.5 months, in that you know, we've been average for the most part in conference play, and now it's time to give us an opportunity to actually perform at a level that nobody this year seen us play at least within our league.
Outside of like winning the games, of course, is there certain things that you're hoping to see from this team going into, you know, NCAA tournament, like things that can translate in Big 12 that will translate to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I would say there are some things, but the biggest thing I'd like to see some consistency from a rebounding standpoint, some consistency from a finishing possession standpoint. You know, anything I think that would give you confidence to move forward. But I'll be honest, I think I could speak for most coaches. The hay may not be totally in the barn, but it's just a couple of bells short. There's not going to be a lot of changes, I don't think, done by the teams, you know, based on what happens this week for next week.
Bill, I don't have the numbers, but it seems the last 3 weeks KJ's really been on an uptick.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that? Is this the best ball he's played? Is there reasons why he is coming to the top of his game at this time?
I actually think, and I could be wrong, Dave, but the last 5 games or so, you know, he's probably, I could be wrong, averaging close to 15 a game. He's rebounding the ball better. His activity level defensively has been as good as it's been. I actually think that he sees that the end is potentially near, and probably has a different energy and a sense of urgency about it. But you know, he's played really well. He's done what he can do about as well as anybody on our team has done what they potentially can do from a skill standpoint. So I'm very happy with him.
You won't know until 22 hours beforehand which one you're playing, but what are your thoughts on Utah and UCF at this point in the year?
Well, we know UCF a little better, you know, because we played them twice. Although we played Utah most recently, if I'm not mistaken. So I think our 2 UCF games were before we played our 1 Utah game. But the UCF team we played in early January is the same team as now. With, you know, obviously the team that played us here, you know, it was guys. They had the ball driving downhill with 10 seconds left, down 1. And KJ made a really good play, defensive play. And then Utah, you know, it was a tie game there. I just watched it. It was a tie game there with 5 minutes left, and then they make the plays down the stretch, and we don't. So I think that neither team in those particular outings saw our best. So, you know, obviously, you know, whoever we play will have a game under the belt in the tournament, and maybe that can be a little bit of advantage to the team that played the day before. But they're both capable, more than capable. I actually think they both had good years, and their years could have been better just with the lucky break here or there, like a lot of teams in our league. So 2 teams that are more than capable of beating us, but 2 teams that were very capable, I think, of having success against if we play.
Both UCF and Utah are very different. I mean, UCF is very guard-oriented. Utah, on the other end, is very big. How do you prepare for such different play styles with less than 24 hours of anticipation?
Well, Utah's big, and they play through their 4-man. But still, the guy that killed us there the first time was a guard. UCF is probably more guard-oriented, but the guy that can get 30 is a 4-man. So on their team. So I actually think we're going to spend today practicing for one, and we'll spend tomorrow practicing for the other. And then hopefully, so anything, and I'm not talking about it at the micro level. I'm talking about it at the 30,000 foot level. That anything that they would do to, you know, how they would guard a ball screen, or will they go zone back to man? Will they do? We'll practice that a little bit for each team each day, and primarily working on us. But at least 30 minutes each day will be preparation for our potential opponent.
Coach, coming off of Hunter's monster game Saturday night, what can you do to help him continue that sort of momentum, production? Any specific tactics that you can use coaching-wise?
I actually think he's been really good the last 5 games or so himself. He's averaging about 23 and a half, something like that, the last 5. Chris, is that about right? You got the last 5 stats, don't you?
I do not have it right.
Do not, but I think that's close. What is it?
23-2, I think.
23-2, excuse me. But that was a big game he had the other night, and I thought there were a couple of things that we did. We got the ball to him more closer to the block on a cleared side, which was beneficial to us. The guys have actually done a decent job of that of late, but I actually believe that against Arizona, what do you make, 15 baskets, and I'll bet you, I could be wrong, 8 of them may have been away from the basket. So he shot the ball better, obviously, but still, yet you got to get easy baskets, and he probably scored 14 points within 2 or 3 feet, and we're going to have to get him touches down there.
Bill, piggybacking off that, Hunter got first team all Big 12s, you got 3rd, and Juan got an honorable mention. Is that how you thought it would shake out for you guys?
You know what? If I could be disappointed at anything, I'd say I thought KJ deserved at least an honorable mention deal. You know, all that honorable mention is just one coach in your league has to vote, and it can't be me, but one coach in the league has to vote for somebody for 3rd team. If I'm not, isn't that right, Chris? You just got to get one vote somewhere. So I'm disappointed in that, because obviously to me he is, but when you really look at it, you got 10 guys on the first team and just 5 on the second, third team, if I'm not mistaken. So, and then you got 10 or so or 12 on honorable mention. I don't think anybody in our league that's a coach that's coached against KJ wouldn't feel like he's one of the best 32 players in our league. That would be the biggest disappointment to me, but everything else was pretty much true to form.
You said you haven't spoken to the team since Saturday, so I imagine you haven't seen Shaq since then, but do you have any idea if he could play in the Big 12
No, he
tournament?
won't
or-
play. I can't believe, he hadn't practiced, guys, in 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it's been, so I can't believe that he would. But the medical staff has told me that there is, he's improving to the point where he may be serviceable. But in my thinking, serviceable to me is, practicing at least 2 or 3 days before you go out there, so I can't see that happening this week.
Did you see Tommy Floyd said he thought you guys are primed to make a run?
No, I didn't see that. Of course, I don't read anything you guys write anymore, so I'm joking. I didn't see that. So, is that what Tommy said?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times, if I was coaching in Tucson and they beat our butt, I'd probably say something nice too. So I don't know, I think that coaches are pretty good at stating something that would give the other team credit, especially if, in a good, well-fought game like that. But, I do think we played well the other day. I thought we played to our strengths. I thought we eliminated some of their strengths, and but as you guys can tell, watching Arizona play, that's a pretty physically gifted group, especially on the perimeter. They got some guards that are built like men and can get downhill.
How do you see the rotation for the postseason?
I hope it's more than the way I saw it on Saturday. It needs to be more for sure in a tournament that's played consecutive days. But the other day, it's not going to be much different. You got one guy subbing two guards, and you got one guy subbing a wing, and you got basically one guy subbing the 2 bigs. So that's how I see it. Probably the same way as I've seen it for a while.
In your experience, when you play teams that have a mid-season coach firing, is there anything different you'd expect from Utah now that they've?
You know what? I'm not a big fan of any decisions like that being carried out and made while the season's going on. And I don't know Craig well, but I know him well enough to know he's a good coach and he's had great success. And he beat our butt. So I think it's hard. Josh, I coached. We coached against last year at West Virginia. But just being honest, who has it ever happened to that we've coached an interim coach? We coached against an interim coach at the end of a season. I'm sure it's happened, but I don't remember, so I won't put much stock into it being much different than the way it was last time.
Picking up the last one of the season there that you did on Saturday, how important was that to get that win going into the postseason?
Oh yeah, I think Saturday's game was important. We didn't play bad against Texas Tech. At home, you're supposed to win. And against Houston, we didn't play poorly. We competed hard, just didn't do enough to win. But that was a must win for us. I think from a confidence standpoint, as much as anything, that we need to have something good happen. So and we played well. So it was a special day. I think if anything, guys should feel pretty good about how the entire day went. It was a nice day.
I know you talked a lot about Darren, just looking at next year. I know now he's projected as a #1 pick coming out after next year. Watching Cooper Flagg, I know different players, but is that the type of impact you think he can have on his program next year? I know 2 different players.
Shay, first of all, I don't, you must have all the inside NBA scoop, because I don't know any of that stuff, what they're projecting, any of that. But I will tell you this, he's gonna be in the conversation. He's good. And do I expect him to have the same impact?
Or is he that type of?
If we win at the level that Duke's won at this year, he'll get the lion's share of the credit, I would think. Because he'll be different, he'll be new, and he'll create and help create an atmosphere and a culture that I'm sure that Cooper has helped with at Duke in an immense way, as Rome has helped at Auburn in an immense way, even though it's, obviously he's been there for more than one. I do believe that to be the case. I love his game. I think he can do a lot of things to help a team win, i.e. what Cooper has done for Duke from what I've seen. He's one of the few guys in America that can not score and still control a game. And hopefully Darren will be a player like that for us as well.
Did you see Darren may get to play at Haskell in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I did
And
see
what do you
that.
think of that?
I'm great with it. I think it's at a time that I don't even know if we can even go watch. But if his team is prolific, gets to play at Haskell, I think it'd be great if people went out and watched him because, or watched them, their team, or watched the entire event because there'll be some pretty good players playing in it.
Who is the prohibitive favorite for this tournament, and who is your sleeper team?
Kansas is my sleeper team. The favorite, I would say, till somebody knocks them off, I would say Houston, just because, they made it look pretty easy the last 2 years, and it's not quite as easy as they've made it look. So I'd have to say they're the favorite.
Anything else?
Thanks, Coach.